Hi and welcome to Wild Time Adventures with me, Ray. Like a lot of watch people, I have a relationship with Casio, which is bordering on the obsessive. Just so many happy associations with this most innovative, most accessible, most durable. I mean, the superlatives are endless about this brand Casio. Today I want to present my collection, 16 pieces and counting. They just seem to accumulate, and I'm sure I'm far from done. So I hope you enjoy my watch collection, and if you like what you see, please do consider liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, the collection. Right, so here it is, folks. My current collection, 16 Casio watches and growing by the month. Let's get into it. Check out each one by one, why I've collected it, its features, price point, and so on. We'll start with least expensive to most expensive. Can't think of a better way to do that. At least that has some coherence to it rather than skipping around randomly. All right, my 16 watch Casio collection. Okay, let's start with the Fs, the F91 and variants. There's a little bit of duplication in my collection. You'll see why, hopefully, as I explain. Okay, the F91w. Back in the day, I really didn't get why people had these at all. I just thought too small, too basic. It's only when you get one and you look at it closely, you appreciate the design, and it's just so comfortable on wrist. Everything you need, nothing that you don't. The only thing, of course, that lets this down, as I've discussed many times, is the terrible, terrible backlight. Just more or less non-existent. What I have done is I bought a duplicate one, which is a modded one off of a guy on eBay who mods the LEDs in these with a lovely bright blue backlight. I'll put in some B-reel of that. So this is the one that I actually wear. The other stock one I just have in my collection. I like to have a stock one, but I bought the modded blue backlight. Now really, I could just have this. I could just have this one watch and everything would be absolutely fine. Oh, iconic, brilliant, yeah. Okay, every time I see a color variant cheap on eBay, I snatch it up. I think in time, my plan is to collect as many of the color variants as possible. I have a disease, people. Recently, I got to learn of this JDM variant, the F84w, that's still in production. This has apparently been in production since 1986, even smaller and lighter marginally than the F91w. Same terrible backlight, exactly the same module. Yeah, the 593 module, yeah, exactly the same. Just marginally smaller and an even more angular 80s design. I really love the different facets here on the strap and the case itself, a bit more clearly octagonal, less rounded off, more 80s. So I love these. I'll continue to accumulate these like nobody's business, I am sure. Next, let's move on to some A variants. Okay, so let's bring in the A158, the A168. Got some different variants of these. Let's bring them in. Okay, right then, let's start with the one that I actually wear the most. I've had this since 2020, and you'll see in the macro shots that, yeah, it's got some evidence of, you know, receiving a bit of a beating. This is the watch, one of the watches I wear more than anything else on a day-to-day basis at work, because it's just so gosh darn comfortable. Fits your wrist perfectly with the adjustable clasp mechanism here, the lovely jingly jangly bracelet. Backlight's fantastic. Yeah, this is just my absolute go-to, and I'll continue to wear it until it falls apart, I'm sure. Now, I got the negative display variants, which look amazing, far less practical on a day-to-day basis unless the light is bright, but these look great. I don't wear these much, I just wear these for best, but they're just incredible looking, I think. So I have the bracelet version and this one with a jelly strap. I saw this for about £29 and I just couldn't resist it. I had to have it. Yeah, I don't really wear this, but it's just excellent. I might wear it every now and then, and if I'm wearing very casual clothes, might be going out for something. Yeah, love that. And then very recently, in the same purchase as getting the JDM F87w shipped to me from Japan by Discovery Japan, I saw they had the A158 really super cheap. I've always stayed away from this because it's got the same poor backlight as the F91w, and indeed it's the same module. This is just, you know, the same watch, but with a bracelet and a chromed resin case. This is significantly smaller and less thick than the A168. Actually, I hadn't realized that. It is a slightly different proposition. One day I might get this modded with a better backlight, because I really like how slim and dressy this is. I love the gold face. Yeah, so that's great too. Another addition to the collection. From there, let's look at some other Casio vintage variants. Now, people talk of having a beta watch. How about this? Now, this really is beaten. This is my W800H. Now, this is what I actually wear if I'm doing DIY and stuff that requires something you just really don't care about. I like this watch, and it's kind of a shame that it has got beaten up. I might get another one, so I've got one that's fresh. Super cheap. I remember picking this up from Argos in the UK, you know, budget high street retailer. Every now and then they have really super cheap deals on Casios, and this was, you know, about £18, silly money. So picked it up. Essentially a bit like an F91w, larger, more functions, similar colorway, better backlight, still just a single LED, but far more powerful proposition, more functions. And as you can see, it's got paint on it, it's scratched and scraped all over the place. Very practical though, very useful. In the world of pieces that I love but I don't wear a great deal, one of my brothers bought me this for a present. I was really grateful of that on a birthday. You know, a fantastic design piece, that A100, the Ripley watch, so called, because in the original Alien movie, the character Ellen Ripley had two of the resin versions, the F100 of these, on a custom strap. You know, it looks suitably retro sci-fi, doesn't it, with these buttons on the front and the colorway. Love it, love it. Don't wear it much, as I say, but it's very 70s. Reminds me of Star Wars, Alien, etc. Great. Next up, the watch that I really wanted above all others when I was a kid. This was the thing to have, and I've talked about this before elsewhere on my channel. The Casio Databank DBC611. Yeah, it's so cool, so nerdy, so cool, with the keypad and all the different functions. I mean, having a data bank in a watch, utterly redundant and very silly, really. But you know, this is a real tribute to my childhood. I just love this. It's great, isn't it? Fantastic. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on now to the Casio Royale, the AE1200. I'm really super into these. I've had the one that was the bracelet version, a horrible bracelet on that actually, and I didn't like the metal coloured resin. So I had a modded case for it, and a leather strap, but it changed the nature of it. It then became heavy. So I went back to getting a black resin one. Again, I would say this, alongside the A168, this is what I wear more often than not. Light, super functional, fantastic design. The world time functions are really actually helpful for my job because I work with international people, so that's great. Now, I couldn't resist this when I saw this. This is going to be one of those ones where I think you see a pattern emerging now, that if I really like a Casio, I'll collect the variants. So I've collected the variant that has the more greeny rather than grey LCD screen and the gold text. And I won't wear this one, I'll keep it in this case. Utterly ridiculous, but if you're a collector, you get it. This will sit on my desk. I could stare at this all day. I think it's fabulous. I love those so much. Next, let's get into G-Shocks. Currently have 3. I've had all sorts of G-Shocks in my time. I've currently got 3. This is a very special one to me. I wore this for years and years actually when I was just first getting into watches, and I think it's fair to say it went through thick and thin, the GD 350 with me for a long time. Now this doesn't represent the kind of G-Shocks that I like anymore because of the size of the case and so on. I find these a little bit bulky. I prefer to have G-Shocks that are on the smaller or side, like the classic squares, or now the Casio Oaks are also a very wearable size. I have a pretty average size wrist, 7¼ inches. I can get away with most things. I can get away with this just fine, but it's just not my vibe so much anymore. But it is a fantastic watch. The best negative display that Casio make, in my view, on their affordable G-Shock lines. Backlight is brilliant. The countdown timer being accessible from one button. Lots of people love this. Memories. Never part with this. Very special. Finally, my squares. I've owned a few squares in my time. Currently, I have this yellow, very cheerful one. The kind of the classic budget DW 5600E. Wear this to the gym a lot. I wear this when I want to be bright and cheerful. Really practical, absolutely classic. And then finally, the best piece I have, I suppose, objectively, the 5000U. Now this is what you call a sleeper piece, a JDM piece. If you know, you know. This costs quite a bit actually, even though it doesn't look like much, about £250, because of the much better steel module with the proper screw-in case back, tough solar, multi-band 6, excellent, really legible module. This is the Connoisseur's G-Shock Square. I set all my other watches by it because of the multi-band 6. It's great. There we go. That's my Casio. There you go. That was bound to happen, wasn't it? With 16 Casio watches, some of them with their alarms set. But yeah, that's my collection. 16 watches and growing all the time. It's a disease. I can't help it. They're amazing. True God tier, as Nico Lonep would say. All right, thanks for checking out my collection video. If you haven't already, please do consider liking and subscribing to my channel, Wild Time Adventures, for more free content all about affordable watches from me, Ray. Thanks so much for watching to the end. See you again soon.